All right. Well, hello, everyone. It is the beginning of our very first monthly Zoom on cruises for DNR travel. And we are just back from our Virgin trip, and we had a lovely time. Just before the recording started, my mom was talking about the escape room aspect of the Virgin ships. They definitely want you to casually explore through the ship, or like in a horror movie, try to find your way out, depending on your point of view. I think, we have an 8 day with Virgin that we're going to talk about because I'm going to go chronologically through all of our travel that we have coming up. I think on an 8 day cruise, the sort of I spent an hour wandering around trying to find something might not bother you nearly as much, but when you've only got 4 days and you want to see as much as you can, it is frustrating when you spend 15 minutes just trying to find the entrance to the restaurant that you're going to. So, but I like a lot about Virgin, their vibe on board the ship. The crew is happy to be there and also like unabashedly, openly queer. And it definitely gives you, Virgin is much more like, especially with our group, it's much more like going to a gay bar where there are a lot of straight people, as opposed to, a lot of the cruises that we'll do on Norwegian or Celebrity, where it's much more like we have our gay group in a larger, welcoming but straight environment. So I definitely saw more gay couples holding hands in hallways on the Virgin ship than I have seen on other ships. So I think that just sort of speaks to the environment on board. So if that's important to you, I know that's not 100% important to everybody. It's not going to be the number one factor why anyone does a cruise. But if that is something that you've always thought, oh, this would be a great thing if I could just, we're getting an ice cream cone and we're holding hands and we're walking around on the ship and nobody's being weird about it. If that's part of your cruise fantasy, have I got a cruise line for you? Drinks not included. Okay. So because this is our first cruise Zoom, what I thought I would do is run chronologically through our various upcoming events that we have between now and 2024. Talk about each of them, give some details on where we're at with various aspects of them. And then at the end, if you have questions, you could raise your hand or shout out or go in the text comments and let me know what questions you have at the end. I know I directly emailed this to everybody who's on the Alaska cruise, so I'm sure there are Alaska people who have very specific Alaska questions. So I will cover as much Alaska stuff as I can because that is our next cruise coming up. So that everybody is fully informed. Okay, so chronologically, we're starting with Alaska Pride, which is coming up June 25th. We are sailing out of Vancouver in British Columbia on Sunday, June 25th. But before we sail, there are going to be events in Seattle on Friday, June 23rd. So we have host hotels in both locations. We have a host hotel in Seattle that is walking distance from our event on Friday afternoon. And then we have a host hotel in Vancouver that is also a walkable distance from the cruise port. So I will start with Seattle for those of you who are doing the Seattle portion, but I know a lot of people are flying direct into Vancouver, which is great. So in Seattle on Friday, the 23rd, we are doing our show live, 1 hour of our show live from a tiki bar there called Hula Hula. The Gayish podcast guys are also going to be there. We're going to do a show together. They may also do their own show. We're going to have some karaoke. It's going to be a really fun afternoon. Even if you're not going on the Alaska cruise, if you want to come to Seattle for the weekend, it should be a fun weekend. And it is Pride, so they'll definitely be busy out and about in town on Friday night. In Seattle, there's sort of a restaurant bar area that is very gay, a walking distance from Hula Hula. So after our afternoon of karaoke and show and everything, it'd be really easy to wander down and get some dinner and hang out and enjoy the gay part there. On Saturday, It is Seattle Pride, so you can go to the Pride Fest during the day, or you could head off to Vancouver earlier if you want to spend the day in Vancouver instead. There are two trains that leave from Seattle to Vancouver. There's one very early in the morning and one later in the evening. This is like a beautiful train ride, apparently. So I think they have sort of a early morning. So you have the lovely, like a sunrise going through the, mountains and trees kind of a thing. And then the one in the evening is more of like a sunset kind of a thing, whatever. It depends on you and whether you want to get up early on Saturday and head to Vancouver right away, or if you want to spend the day in Seattle and take the train later. There are also buses in the afternoon in between. So if you want to split the difference or you don't want to get up early, I'm sure the bus ride is perfectly lovely. You can also fly between Seattle and Vancouver. It's about 3 hours on the train and bus, so the flight is going to be under an hour, and there will be lots of them too. So as you're working out your flight arrangements and everything, there are a lot of options there. I put the options on our page on DNR Travel. I try to keep the page updated. If you click on the add-ons button, you'll see the links for our host hotels. You'll see the information about the train and our upcoming events there too. And I will keep updating that as we get closer. Also with Alaska, we have a WhatsApp group. We did a WhatsApp group on the Virgin and Walt Disney World trip. I think that went very, very well. It allowed people to connect with each other with their plans beforehand, to share photos while the trip was going on, and also to find each other on the ship and out and about. I think that that was very successful for the most part. So we have a WhatsApp group for Alaska Pride. I would definitely encourage you to crowdsource for ideas in your preparations for Alaska, whether it's considering shore excursions or other, a big group dinner if you want to do something like that in Seattle beforehand or in Vancouver the night before. The WhatsApp will be very helpful in sharing ideas. If you see like great flight prices with a particular airline or something like that, that's a great place to share that information too. So I strongly encourage people to sign up for the WhatsApp. The link was in the email that all the Alaska Pride people got. And then also in Vancouver, our host hotel there, we do have a group block there, but it's a little bit different, because they wouldn't give us a traditional group block, but we do have a group block there. The nice thing about Vancouver is that the cruise port is in their waterfront entertainment district. So there are a lot of hotels and bars and restaurants that are all very close to the cruise port. So really any of the hotels in that area will be easy to access from the airport or train station by train. The cruise port is right there, super close. So it'll be really easy to get to the ship for the sailing, but also getting off the ship and going to the airport at the end should be pretty easy and straightforward. So definitely, look at a map in Vancouver and you'll see, oh, everything is right here. And our hotel is also very close, but it also means that the area hotels will probably fill up quite a bit just because it's a weekend. And, that's a big cruise ship. So a lot of people will need hotels and everything. So our block will almost certainly sell out. I cannot guarantee that we'll continue to get the rate that we got, but there are lots of other hotels in the area that will be great and all close by. Okay, with shore excursions, Celebrity does have shore excursions that you can book through the ship. We also, in the past, we've used a company called Shore Trips. During the pandemic, they were acquired by a company called Venture Ashore. We will be setting up some shore excursions through Venture Shore. And Romaine is looking at shore excursions through both Celebrity and Venture Shore, so everyone can get plenty of options. I will say sometimes people have anxiety about using outside shore excursion companies. I think that if the shore excursion is very far from the ship, like for instance, when we go to Europe, Florence is an hour by bus each way. You might be concerned, what if the bus breaks down on the way and I can't get back to the ship in time? But in Alaska, almost all of the shore excursions are fairly close to the ship. Frequently your shore excursion, you can see the ship from the excursion. So I think that's less of a concern in Alaska. But if that is a concern for you with the shore excursions, then I would do the shore excursion through Celebrity, just because if you don't get back to the ship on time, Celebrity will help to actually get you there. So for peace of mind, some people may prefer that. But in April, Romaine will have some recommendations. You'll also get emails from Venture Ashore, getting you all set up there. So you can explore both of those options. And again, you can pick whatever shore excursions you want. I will say with Alaska, in the past, people have signed up for like whale watching boat trips and everything, and then they saw more whales from their cabin than they did on the whale watching trip. With nature, you never know what you're going to get. We lucked out last time on Alaska that we saw a lot of nature direct from the ship and, northern lights and that kind of thing. Can't guarantee any of those things. So, but, that is something that does happen on Alaska sailings, that you can see a fair amount of wildlife from the ship too. So something to keep in mind as you look at shore excursion. Okay. I think that is all the stuff I have here for Alaska. But I will say, if you're not booked on Alaska and you are interested, the ship is very sold out. I think I have one standard balcony cabin left, and I think I have two concierge class balconies left. That's all I have. And our group space closes this week. So if you're not booked on Alaska and you've been thinking about it, this is it. And so contact me, take the weekend, but contact me by Monday, because once that space is gone, it will be gone. And this is at our group pricing that has the all-included promotion in it. That's the drink package, tips, and Wi-Fi. If this is something where you're like, make a declarative decision by Monday, and then have the decider in your relationship contact me. You know who you are. Some of you are dreamers and some of you are deciders. I like to hear from the decider for obvious reasons. Okay. But I have heard from almost all of you about final payments and everything on Alaska. I am working through it this weekend. Anybody I haven't heard from by Sunday, I will be emailing directly to finalize their plans for Alaska. Okay, let's move on to Better Off Med. If you have questions about Alaska, we can get to them at the end of our Zoom. We're moving along fast. Okay, Better Off Med. That ship is even more sold out than Alaska. They have jacked up the prices for what available space is left. A balcony cabin on that ship is currently going for $7,100, which I will just be honest is too much. And if somebody tries to book it, I tell them that's too expensive and I don't want to book you. So we do have one discount inside cabin that is left for Europe, but that is it. So I know that other people have friends and family who have expressed interest in going. I just have to say the pricing is terrible. So if there is other space and I can get people in, I will do it. But I personally don't feel good about booking people when I think the price is too high. So I'm just telling all of you now that if you have other people who are sniffing around about it, you have to be honest with them that the pricing is high. Now, some people got money and they don't care. And if that is the case, thank you. We love to have them travel with us. But between you and me, I would prefer that people get a good price for the trip. Okay. So also with Europe, we will do a WhatsApp for Europe. Almost all of you will have Wi-Fi included in your thing. I definitely recommend in Europe, because we're going to be there for 10 days and a lot of people have extended travel. Contact your phone company about a phone plan in Europe, a phone and data plan. It's really easy to get that on most US phones. And then you'll be able to use your phone quite a bit while you're in Europe, and WhatsApp will be very helpful there on excursions and everything else while you're there. So definitely recommend that. Also, we will do Venture Ashore in Europe. Our group right now, we have 98 cabins booked on Europe. So that's almost 200 people in our group. That is a very big group. we're going to be talking to Norwegian about specific group excursions just for our group through Norwegian, if they can get that together. If not, you'll be able to use your shore excursion credit and book whatever shore excursions you want. But with such a large group, you will find many people who are in our group who will be doing the same shore excursions you are and being on the same bus and all that kind of thing. So I'm not really worried about people not running into our group on that ship or on a shore excursion. But we will probably in April, when we're doing the celebrity shore excursions, also get everybody set up on Venture Shore then too. We have a host hotel in Rome, the La Meridian. The link is there on the DNR travel page. Again, if you click add-ons on the Better Off Med cruise, you'll see the link for the host hotel and that kind of thing. So the host hotel has been very accommodating. We have some people who are staying in Rome up to 5 days before our cruise. And the hotel has been very accommodating in if you have booked 1 or 2 nights and need an extended stay, they have been honoring the rate and extending the stay. So if that is something that you need through the host hotel, create a reservation on the first night and then email me and let me know your reservation number and how many additional nights you need, and I will contact the hotel and they will help us out. It's a big hotel. It's very centrally located, sort of equidistant between the Colosseum and the Vatican. So for exploring Rome, it will be very easy to get around from the host hotel. We will also have a group shuttle link as we get closer. There's a local company that's like a super shuttle that you can sign up for group shuttles to the boat from the host hotel. So we will have that available soon too. Okay. Very excited about Europe. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think everyone's excited too. Okay, let us move on to 2024, which is going to be a hot mess, everybody. So excited. We have so much, maybe even too much going on in 2024. So first, thank you to Robin, who connected us with Bear Soup Tampa, because they are a local group of bears, not exclusively in the Tampa area, but many of them are. But they contacted us at Robin's suggestion about putting together a 4-day cruise out of Tampa. It's on the Norwegian Jade on Martin Luther King weekend. It leaves on Friday morning, January 12th of 2024, and it returns on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. So for people who don't want to take a lot of time off of work, we do have other DNR people who are on the cruise. We have almost 30 cabins booked there, so it's a nice sized group. It should be a fun weekend. We hope that people will join us for that if you want to do that. Romaine and Tom Goss are going to be on the ship. I'm currently not booked on it, but if it gets too big for Romaine to handle on her own, I'll be there too. If me being there is a factor for you, given how little people are tracking me down on the ship, I don't know that it is, but if it is for you, I might be there. But at this point, it'll be Romaine and Tom Goss. I think that the karaoke we are planning with the two of them will be super fun, probably the highlight of the trip, because they are both singers. But Tom is going to be doing some performing, and we'll have a lot of great stuff going on that ship. So that should be fun if you want to do that. The information is on DNR Travel. We just announced a new cruise for 2024 on the Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady. This is an 8-day sailing out of Miami on April 6th of 2024, going to the Eastern Antilles. And it is a Saturday to Sunday sailing, so you will not need to take extra time off of work, but it is an 8-day. We have a lot of people who got future voyage credits on our last sailing, and I expect to see some or many of you on this sailing. I know that the future voyage desk people said, oh, well, there will be new promotions starting in April, and so you may want to see what those promotions are. I will just say this about Virgin and their pricing. So with our first sailing that we did with Virgin, the best pricing was at the beginning when we announced the cruise. As we got closer to the sailing, the pricing went up. Once we got within a few weeks of sailing last minute space, they did not drop the price. There was some great promotions going on where people got extra onboard credit that sort of balanced out the price. So people who booked later got a price that was roughly equivalent to what people who booked earlier got. But I will just say they only do this particular itinerary twice a year. They have one sailing in April and they have one sailing in November. And so the space is just going to sell out because they don't do a lot of it. And the remaining space will get expensive. With Virgin and their cancellation policy, if you book and the price drops before final payments, I can reprice you at the new price or new promotion if it is a better deal. So there is no reason not to book now if what you're waiting for is the best possible deal. But if the price goes up and whatever extra promotion doesn't, make it lower than what it is now, you would have been better off booking now. So that is my strong recommend. We already, key suite space is already sold out. And so I really feel like if you want a good space on the ship, book earlier, not later. I do also have, for another like 20 days, I have some Sea Terrace XL cabins that I set aside and 2 Seriously Suite cabins. So I believe that the price I have on the Seriously Suite cabin, because I set them aside, is lower than the current price on Virgin's website, but I only have 2 of them. So again, if this is something that you want, contact me, especially if you have a future voyage credit, and then I can get you into one of those spaces. But again, I always want to get people the best price possible. So, please heed my advice. But I will also be honest with you if I feel like, there is better pricing down the road or a better promotion coming or something like that. But I feel pretty strongly with Virgin that you should book earlier rather than later, just because of how that works. Now, with their cancellation policy, I will say it is different from Norwegian. If you make a deposit on Virgin, the deposit is not refundable, but it does turn into a future voyage credit if you end up not being able to sail. They are also pretty flexible in terms of cancellation closer to sailing after final payment. But again, it all turns into future voyage credit, or you can transfer your reservation to another person. It is just something to keep in mind that Virgin's cancellation policy is different than other cruise lines. But for people who booked future voyage credits, it is in your best interest to make your plans earlier rather than later, not just on this sailing or any sailing, because if there is a better price or promotion before final payment, I can reprice you. But I can't get you an old price if it goes up and you're stuck. So just if you have questions about the Virgin thing, contact me and I will happily walk you through it if that's something that you want to do. But there is good solo space on the Eastern Antilles sailing. They have solo insider cabins, studio cabins that have good pricing for solo travelers, and solo ocean view cabins also as something to keep in mind. Okay, we're getting close to the end of our 2024 plan so far. It's going great. We also, Great Smoky Weekend. We are going to Dollywood, not in 2023, but 2024. So September of 2024, we will be at Dollywood again. We're very excited. I'm also going to invite these Tampa Bears to join us too. And I think that they will probably, many of them want to join us as well. We're very excited to get back to Dollywood. They have a brand new, psychotically huge roller coaster that they've added in. They've also have a new hotel that is opening nearby. So they're adding lots of stuff. And then there's a new, even more interactive Dolly Parton experience at the museum, if you're really into Dolly. So there'll be a lot of great new stuff when we get to Dollywood in 2024. The host hotel is open for booking if you want to, book your room earlier. But we will start ticketing and everything on that event in the spring of next year. But just letting everybody know, Dollywood is not this year, it is next year. And then we will have one more cruise that will be launching at the either end of October or beginning of November. It'll be the last week of October, the first week of November. We have not finalized our plans on this yet, I was waiting on our Virgin trip and announcing our April cruise, but we will announce in April what our fall 2024 plans are so that everyone can make all of their plans for all of their travel accordingly. So there you go. I know that at least one question came in from Dan, but it was truncated, so I wasn't able to read it. But if you have other questions, you can put it in text chat now, and I will answer
Derek,
questions. Yes.
did you skip the Mexican cruise for 2024?
Oh my God, I did. See, we have too much stuff. Thank you. I did skip our Mexican Riviera cruise on the Bliss. Oh my God. See, we have too much stuff going on. All right. We do also have, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. We are also sailing on the Bliss to the Mexican Riviera. Oh my God. In February of 2024. I do still have group space available there in the club balcony and I think inside category space there. There's still some availability there. We have 80 cabins booked on that one, which is a really nice size group. We are not planning to do a Disneyland trip on that, but if you do want to go to Disneyland that weekend before the sailing, you can contact me and we can get you set up there for hotel and park tickets if you want. Our plan on Saturday for our sail away event will be a roller disco party. My sister Laura, who lives in Southern California, is in the roller derby. She's a tough broad. There's a lot of that in my family, you might have noticed. And so she is helping us get set up on this roller disco thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, will there be extra insurance for injuries? You do not have to skate if you are concerned about skating, but we'll still have a fun party there anyway. DJ Turbin will be DJing, so it should be a lot of fun. And we'll have details on that coming up probably later on this summer. Okay, let's see what text questions have come in. Dan says, when you get a minute, can you set up the Better Off Med WhatsApp so we can start planning? Yes. I'm going to email everybody an update email on Better Off Med in April after I get through the Alaska final payments. And it will have the WhatsApp link in there. It will also have shore excursion information at that point, and also a reminder that final payments are coming up in June. I like to give people a 2-month warning so that they know about that. Okay. We just have a few more minutes left on the Zoom. I got a reminder. How many cabins are booked on Alaska? We have 60 cabins that are booked on the Alaska sailing. So we have quite a large and lively bunch to manage there. And Alaska does leave on Sunday. It is a Sunday to Sunday sailing on June 25th. And it comes back on the Sunday of 4th of July weekend. So it is obviously not 4th of July in Canada. So, if you want to hang out in Vancouver afterward, that should be fine, but it will not be the same kind of holiday weekend chaos that we would have in a US city. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Okay, my mind wandered a second. When did you say you're announcing the fall 2024 cruise?
We'll announce it in April.
That's what I
gotta get through the Alaska stuff first. And the Virgin sailing, I had wanted to announce our April 2024 plans earlier, but I was waiting on Virgin. They don't announce their ships until 18 months out. And so they did not announce what their, all of their fall of 2024 sailings were, which really, scrambled what my plans were. So, and with the future voyage credit, when you sail on Virgin, it's not like Cruise Next, which can go for 4 years, or even Cruise First, which is 3 years. Virgin's future voyage credit is only good for 2 years. So I was very worried about having a future voyage credit for a cruise that was sailing in January of 2025, when people would be facing their future voyage credit expiring in March of 2025. It didn't give people a lot of leeway. So I'm going to try to work with Virgin in the future on longer range planning there if we can. But it was really, I wasn't sure that we'd be sailing with Virgin again. And then once I experienced the ship, I was like, oh yeah, we're definitely sailing with them again. Okay, do we have any other questions as we wrap up? Thank you, Kathy. Wonderful question.
I think, does Carrie have a question? Did she?
I emailed it to you, Derek.
Oh, you emailed me a question? Oh, Lord. Okay.
Well, you ignored it. I said, was my booking higher because I booked on your request by myself in a seriously suite than the ones you got?
No, because when you booked, that was the price.
Okay.
So, no. You should be fine. I mean, I will double check it and make sure. But the people who booked on the ship, because we did have people who booked into Sirius Suites and the Sea Terrace XL and everything on the ship or immediately after we got off the ship. That is the same price that I have in my group block. But I did notice, like yesterday when I was looking, that the Seriously Suite price looks higher. So, but they only had 5 cabins available. I think they only have 1 in regular open available space left, and I have 2 of them, and I think 2 of them got booked on the ship. So there's not a lot of, I think there's only 1 left, and then they put the price, they made the price go higher.
All right. And we're still interested in switching to the one that we had on the last sailing if it becomes available, but they were sold out.
Yeah, I know that unfortunately there was a certain amount of suite space that was like the aft suite cabins. A lot of that space is already sold out. But again, it's because they don't do this itinerary a lot. A lot of the great Virgin cruises are in Europe. If we didn't, have a Europe sailing at the end of 2023, I think we would have done, tried something in Europe with Virgin. But probably what's going to end up happening is our 2025 Virgin sailing will probably be like a fall 2025 Virgin sailing in Europe. Their Barcelona.
Oh, I'm gonna make that. Oh,
Kathy's taking notes.
Kathy, don't hold me to this, Kathy. We'll just see how it goes.
okay.
All right.
Question mark. Kathy.
Derek,
Yes. Dan.
on the Better Off Med, I wasn't on the last one. Do you do a group transport from Rome to the port, or how does that go?
Well, as I mentioned in this Zoom, there is a group shuttle company like Super Shuttle, and we will have that set up, and you'll be able to sign up for that online to get from the host hotel.
Let him reiterate that.
Anybody else have a question that was previously covered during this Zoom?
Shut up. I cancel.
Can I help facilitate any questions?
All right. Anyway, there you go. Okay, if other people have other questions, obviously you can email me. But a lot of information is on dnrtravel.com. And thank you so much for joining us. I know we have so many cruises going on that even I forgot one of them. So that is terrible. So we have a lot going on. And I appreciate you all joining us on our many adventures. And I look forward.
When's the next Zoom? This was fun.
This was fun. We will do it again. I'm going to try to do this every month so that I can update people on what's happening with our various events. But at the next one,
I did read that ahead of time.
What?
I knew you said you're going to do one a month. I just want to pin you down.
Okay, I don't have a date set yet, but we will talk about the fall 2024 cruise on the next Zoom as a tease for what we'll be covering next time.
Oh,
And we'll have more in-depth information about Better Off Med at that point. All right. Thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate you being a part of this. And I will try to put this recording up so people can get this information as well. All right. See you all soon. Thanks for joining. Bye.
bye.
Bye.